Good everyone, tough one today. I started the session confident, but it didn't go to plan. 5 trades, 5 stop outs, and a day that should have been a small red turned into a much bigger one. Worst of all, a mistake trade cost me my best chance of getting back to green. So let's break it down. If I can bring up the charts, here we go. Okay, so first stock I traded, well the only stock I traded really was SBFM. This was a continuation stock from yesterday. It had news. I think it was about its revenue. And the first entry I took was pretty much the first thing when I opened up my platform. So I'll bring up, I've actually got a video. So I had seen it pop through the VWAP, and this is where I should have actually taken the trade here on this break. Buying when it broke over that first pivot point there, but I didn't break the ice there. I waited for a pullback off the $0.50 here around 352, and I was expecting a pushback, and this was the previous high of day here, and I was looking for a retest of that high. This was the second pullback, so I thought there was a good chance that it will work. But looking at the red coming in on this volume candle and it not pushing back up straight away on this second candle, I should have realized that, nah, it's probably not going to work, and just cut the trade here. So yeah, probably should have been out about here anyway, because it didn't look like it was going to go. Not that it had like lots of sellers on the ask or anything, but it just, yeah, there was a big seller, that 79.69. So the big sellers came in then, and that's where I should have gone, nah, cutting this, and got out with only a $10 loss here. But I got stubborn. It was my first trade, and because I was only meant to be trading one trade a day, which I didn't do, I held on to it. And see, I put an order in there to sell it, but I put it on the ask, I think. And, you know, it's not going to get filled there. So eventually when it broke VWAP, I was like, no, I need to get out. And I stopped out on that trade. So what happened there was I stopped out late, past my stop. My stop is 15 cents is sort of my maximum stop, and I meant to cut my loss before that if I don't think the trade's going to go. So that was 26 cents. So I was 11 cents over my stop. What that meant is that the next trade I took, I could have been in sooner, but I was kind of a bit frustrated with myself for, you know, holding on to that trade longer, that I didn't get back in here straight away. So when it confirmed that it was going to push back, I should have been back in. So right, any moment now. Right about here where it broke that first green candle, that was my entry to get back in. But I didn't take that entry, I took the entry as it came up a bit further to break the $0.50. So I got in here at 342, and I was hoping it would rip. I was expecting it to rip further, actually to go further, but probably not with these big these big red volume candles here. I should have realized that it's probably not going to go very far. It's, you know, it's not a lot of buyers coming in on it to push it higher, and this was probably not the best trade here. Even getting in here at the break wouldn't have been a very good trade either. So if I just bring that forward a bit. So it never even looked like it was going to go. And then I held on to it. So I didn't stop out of this. And I had a chance to stop out of it here at about break even. And I missed that opportunity. I should have just been out of that trade. I've been in it for too long anyway. And now I'm just holding and hoping. And if I scrub further along, because I did hold this for a long time, there was another opportunity to get out there as it pushed higher above VWAP to get out with a small stop. And there again was another exit at 345 when it pushed up there. And I don't know why I didn't take that either. I didn't stop out there, sorry. Going all over the place here. So once it went up there and it was rejecting, I was just like, I just need to get out of this stock. I'm spending all this time watching this stock go sideways, and I'm just stuck in this trade. And it didn't resolve straight away. It did resolve. It resolved as a loss straight off the bat, and I didn't take it. So not actually respecting my stop loss. And if the trade's not going my way, in say the first 3 to 5 candles, I should be out of it, because I shouldn't be holding a stock, for 10, 20 minutes, waiting for it to break. I should be, looking at what stocks are moving, and then, buying the stock that's breaking, not sitting in something that's in consolidation, and just ranging between, not going anywhere. So that was my second trade on SBFM. I looked at some other stocks as well, but didn't trade any of these. This was, what stock was this? TCRT. This killed back up after it had popped up earlier while I was in the other trade, up to 322, and then killed back up, but it basically broke VWAP and came straight back down again here. Yep. So it pushed up through VWAP, breaking through there, and went up to about 269 and then pulled back. And it pretty much ranged between there for a while, and then eventually I think it broke 269 and went up to 280, somewhere around there. But just, I didn't like the price action on TCRT, and yeah, so I didn't take any more trades on SBFM until the open. So go through here. What was this stock? This was CNTM. That was too cheap for me. I didn't touch that. It broke up to over $1.24, I think. $1.80. And get to the open. What was that? Yeah, SBFM. So here SBFM is at the lows, around 312, and I didn't take a position down here, which is probably where I should have taken a position here as it came back up. As it came back up here and broke through this level here, that's where I should have had an entry there around 320, looking for the pushback up through VWAP. But once again, didn't take that trade. I did put an order in for that trade a bit later, but it was a bit late. And this was QSG. QSG pushed up to the VWAP and broke it, but too light. Volume was too light in that, and the spreads were a bit wider. So it did break the VWAP and went up to $3.32, and then pulled back again. And it was sort of just ranging between around 320 to 330, 332. And then into the open, actually I'll just start that. Let's do it 5 times. Into the open, it pushed up here to about 340, I think. And yeah, so it pushed up to over 350, and I missed that entry there. I thought it was going to pull back and then push higher, and I made the mistake of putting my order in before it actually confirmed that it was returning. I should have been more patient and waited for it to pull back and then see where it got to and then bought in. So impatience here, and what I do is, you know, it's struggling here to get it back above VWAP. I'm still holding the position, but this is where I make a mistake. I probably should have been out sooner and buying back in here, but I was going to hold and see if it pushed back higher. But I made the mistake of selling my position here at the VWAP. I was just getting a bit nervous. Like, it's only 30, you know, it's about 25, 26, 28 cents down at the moment. And I made the mistake of selling there. Now, I should have kept watching here. What I do is I'm a bit frustrated that I made that trade, and I start scanning through the stocks looking for something else to trade. But I'd been so focused on SBFM that I should have stayed focused on it, because it broke the VWAP and then pushed higher, and I could have been an entry here as it broke VWAP and looked for the push higher. But I'll just do this fast. But you see here, I'm scanning through the stocks looking for something else to trade, and when I come back, I'm too late. I've missed the break here of VWAP, and it's pushed past my previous entry, and you know, pushing to new highs. So just really impatient today, not actually taking the time to let a setup develop and then taking the entry at the right time. I was really forcing entries today, and I think my first entry was fine, it just didn't work, and that's fine. But then a lot of the entries after that just were impatience. I just got impatient and wasn't waiting for the right time to enter the trade, and not really the right setup. That entry there wasn't even really a setup. It was, you know, it was really impatient. And then I took another trade. I probably So this trade here, I probably could have been in a bit lower here, you know, once that candle pushed up, but I got a decent entry here at around 321 on that pullback, and I thought it might push back over the VWAP again, but it wasn't. There was still a fair bit of selling going on, and lots of selling through here, obviously through that big red candle there, which is a bit off-putting, and then, you know, smaller green candles. But what's bad about this trade is that the MACD's closed. So I'm going against my rule here, where I'm only meant to be trading the front side of moves, where the MACD's open, and the MACD's really closed here. And then, even though the trade is working, I am not looking at the signals here. A lot of selling pressure, big topping tail here on this candle. I should be getting out. I should be, selling here with some profit. $28, $30 profit. But these topping tails, 2 in a row now, are, telling a story that there's a lot of selling pressure here. And the buyers, even though it's staying there, they're not in control really. And sure enough, it flushes back down to my buy-in, and I've got a second chance to get out here with some profit, but I'm still not taking it. I'm getting stubborn and really not looking at what the stock's doing, the price action on the stock. I'm just being stubborn and going, well, it's got to work, and it's not going to work like that. The stock doesn't do what you want it to do. And I even had a third chance there to get out with, at least some decent profit, but I wanted it to break VWAP, and that was where I wanted it to go. And here I've finally decided to put a sell order in at 334, but it's too late. It's already had 3 goes at breaking the VWAP and then pushed back to below 334. So really it's unlikely that it's going to push back up to that level. And it doesn't. It's curling and it's rolling over. And there it is. There's the break. And it flushes down. And I'm holding for the bounce. So the bounce coming up here, I'm still hoping that it will come back up. I've taken my sell order out up here, realizing that it's probably not going to come back to the VWAP. And now I'm hesitating at taking my exit around $20. So eventually I do get out of this trade. Once again, the trade's gone on too long. I've been holding for too long. I need to be quicker at getting in and out of my trades, whether they're working or not. And especially if they're not working, because then I'm not, losing so much in my when I stop out. And I finally stopped out of that trade. So really could have had at least some profit here, around $20, $28 if I'd done better. And really, should have been stopping out along this level here with a smaller loss when you can clearly see that it wasn't going to work. And then my final trade on S, where was that? Here. Yeah. So instead of buying down here, or even as it broke through that level there, I am getting in back on that same level, looking for a push back higher. So the small spike in the volume on the buyer's side here gave me a little bit of hope that it was going to push back to VWAP. So I got in here, but once again, it looks like it's working, it's coming up, but it's just not able to break over that 315 resistance level. And there's some sellers that are stacked now on the ask. It's like, 1,000 shares there. I think there was one for 4.9 or something. Yeah, there's 1,300 on. Yeah, 76,000. Yeah, 7,600 shares there, and so the sellers are stacking up on this stock, and I should have been out when I saw that big seller on the ask. That was a definite, yeah, get out of the stock moment. But once again, not getting out quick enough and taking another red trade. So that was, and at the open too, some of the other stocks actually probably would have been a bit better to have traded, especially after that initial push from SBFM. TTEC finally did a push up to about $495, and what's the other one? Oh, I can't remember. I did look at a couple of other stocks that sort of pushed up in the morning, but the next stock that sort of started pushing was ARB. Oh, VMAR actually did a push as well. If I bring up VMAR on here, yeah, VMAR was a bit crazy actually. This thing just sort of ripped into halts. So yeah, it started pushing up around 10:30, 10:25, 10:30, and it ripped into halts. Like halts up, and it halted down, then it sort of pulled back and ripped up and into another halt, then it halted down, and then it halted down, and then sort of, yeah, it was just halting up and down, up and down. You couldn't get into this stock at all. And then it sort of just faded, I think. Yeah, just sort of faded over the rest of the day. But I didn't touch VMAR at all. It was too risky, the spreads were too wide, and going in and out of halts all the time, yeah, nah, just stayed away from that. But the other one I looked at was AREB. This popped up around 11:30, and it halted up. I can't remember where it halted. Where did it halt? Wait, should we look at the video, because that will show where I kind of wanted to take it. So I was really trying to find another stock to trade, and I thought about trading SBFM again, but then I thought, no, I've already done my dash on that. 5 losses in a row is not good. Is this it? Oh, that was ALMS as well, put in a move. But once again, it was too expensive for me at the time, and the spreads were too wide. And I just, like, getting in here for the break of 10:25, 10:30, I thought about doing that, seeing if it would break out to 11, but then it pulled back. And I think it did eventually go, but no, it didn't. That's right, it pulled back. But then I saw AREB popping up, and it come out of a halt here around $2.40 and pushed up to $3.59. Yep. So I watched it go into a halt around $3.97. At this level here it had halted, and so I wanted to, my plan was to wait for the resumption, and I'll just rewind that a bit. So I was waiting for the resumption here, and what I was looking for was a dip down here, and this is where I should have been in here, around 380, small dip back, small pull back, and then a push, or even as it confirmed, as it broke over that level. And I put an order in here, but really I'm dreaming, because it's already broken through that level. If it was coming down again, it probably would keep going down. So here was really the entry. I mean, even here is probably fine to get in, especially if you're looking at it pushing up to 5. and I'm just second guessing myself here because one, I've already had 5 losses in a row today and I didn't want to take another loss, and so I am not really in sync, and also I'm outside of my trading session, and yeah, not feeling too confident. So, you know, there was a definite entry there as well. That's at $3.30, around $3.30 there for the push up to $4.30, sorry, $4.30 for the push up to $5. And, you know, even getting in on this dip here could have been a possibility, although a bit more red volume in there. Might have been a bit off-putting. But the other entry is also at the whole dollar, if it breaks over that. So if I'd been in here at around 380, then I could have been out up here around 490, 495, somewhere around there. And that would have given me, with 200 shares, that would have been green on the day and would have wiped out my other 5 red trades. And if I had held it longer, which I probably wouldn't have, because when the stock's starting to dip down here, these sort of bigger red candles, bigger red volume candles, then it's you know, I should be out of the trade. My trade's done through here. Did think about buying back in here around 4.30, but by this stage I think I was sitting on the sidelines. I'll just speed this up again, about 5 times speed. It rips through a bit faster. Yeah, so once again I'm thinking about seeing if it dips back down, but no, it's too late. It's broken through, and it broke through, you know, $5 and went straight up to $5.48. So really good break there, and then it pulls back, and like this was another entry here for the break of the $0.50, but it is not quite ready to go yet. But you see these candles of these doji candles here are, you know, just indecisive. Who's going to win the battle here? And then it goes, punches through to 588, but it pulls back and consolidates again. So it really was a battle between buyers and sellers on this stock. It's going to scrub forward a little bit. So yeah, it's just not sure which way it's going to go yet, but eventually there, I'll just play that. It breaks through this level here up to 624, and that's the halt level, and it pushes into that halt. I did think about trying again for the dip and rip, but to be honest, it was pretty late for me to be up. This is coming up to like 5 o'clock in the morning for me, and I've still got to get up, take my son to swimming and that sort of thing. So going to bed at 5 o'clock means I have about an hour and a half sleep after it. So I sort of thought about shutting it down here. I did watch through to the resumption, and it did, I think it went up to a high of like $8, over $8, but that's where I shut it down. It's like, no, can't do that anymore. I'm just gonna shut it down, and we're sort of finished for the day. But if we look on the chart here, you can see that it did go up to a high of 8.15 after that resumption. of 624, which is this one here. So yeah, it came through, sort of went sideways for a bit and then broke up to 713 and then up to a high of, why is that going like that for? A lot. Here we go. Sorry. Yeah, it went up to a high here of $8.11 and pulled back. I did get up for power hour to see how AREB did, and when I came back it had already pushed through VWAP and was pushing up here to back to the highs to make a new high, 830, 838, 845. And I did think about taking a trade here as it pulled back to the VWAP. My entry was going to be at 621, but because of the time of day and I had to leave, I couldn't monitor the trade. So I didn't want to leave the trade to resolve on its own. Probably could have put a stop loss in down here below VWAP and then a profit take somewhere up here. I was probably looking for about $1 a share, so around 720, maybe 740. Yeah, probably just below this resistance line here, and I would have got that if I put that trade in. But you know, I didn't end up taking it in the end. I left that one on the table. So, and then in after hours, it's faded. Yeah. So that was AREB. So I kept looking for ways to recoup that loss today. And when I was looking at AREB, I was looking at making that back in one trade. Didn't have the confidence to actually enter the trade though, and if I had, you know, possibly could have made that red day into a green day, but didn't have the confidence to jump in when I should have, and then when I felt it had pushed past or it was up around 550 and higher, then I felt more like I was chasing it rather than getting in with a good strategy. So I left that on the table and ended up taking the red, a red day. So I am down $169.96 today. So around $170 today in the red. 5 red trades in a row. Should have been out, or should have stopped after the third one really, possibly even after the first one, because around $50 is my max loss anyway. So red days happen, but this one hurts. I let a small loss spiral and miss the best opportunities. Would you have kept trading today or shut it down early? Let me know in the comments. I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with better result. Hei a pōpō.